Well, hello there, intentional streaming fans. Welcome to the second round playoff edition. We're going to have another exciting night tonight with myself, Flip, and my co-host, Jarvis. Uh-oh. Oh, there's no Jarvis around here, it appears. I wonder where he could possibly be. Oh, that's right. Jarvis and his lovely wife, May, just had a little baby girl tonight. Aria Lorraine Color. Hopefully I got that right. And they did not name her after Arya from Game of Thrones. I even asked. So, I'm going to be running solo again tonight. So be sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified when we go live. I'm going to jump right into the news here. Raiders released C.J. Anderson after the little muscle hamster, Doug Martin, had a pretty good day. We'll skip the rest of that. Melvin Gordon practicing on a limited basis. That's going to be something Jarvis will be definitely keeping an eye on in the next 24 hours, if he can. Corey Clement goes to injured reserve. Another blow to the Eagles. Lions Ezekiel Unza goes to injured reserve as well. Definitely hurts that Lions defense. Isaiah Crowell in a walking boot, but not serious enough to go to injured reserve, even after a dismal season for the Jets. So it'll be interesting to see if he actually plays this weekend. Don't forget, there are 2 Saturday games. I believe the first one's at, I think, 3:30 or 2:30. I'm not sure which. I think maybe it's 3:30 and 7:30, and I can't actually tell you who's playing. Carson Wentz out this week with back spasms, and Nick Foles is to start. It's kind of an odd move that they're actually talking about shutting him down for the rest of the year. Lamar Jackson's going to start over Joe Flacco again. Not a real huge surprise, even though Lamar Jackson has been fairly bad passing the ball lately. But he is 3-1 as a starter, so, I mean, he doesn't add much to the passing game, but, their running game is very impressive, and the defense is just stifling there. Let's jump right into the waiver wire. This is going to be a little explanation from last week on what was going on with Shannon and his Donkeys team. Shannon was pulling, I'm going to call it a legit move because technically it actually is legit. Since he had the most fab money, he dropped Marvin Jones and was moving him to his taxi squad. But what happened last week was the rules are currently written wrong in the top thread of it, and that's why I forgot to post this earlier, and this is all on me. My bad. But what he tried to do was drop him Wednesday and pick him up Friday. Well, according to the rules, that can't be done. Well, I knew exactly what he was trying to do, so we swapped some text messages back and forth, and Marvin Jones was put back on his team. We'll see how the waivers run tonight. I'm going to assume he put in for Marvin Jones tonight, if he remembered. So let's take a peek at how that ran tonight. And there's Marvin Jones with the 411. I'm guessing that's either the most anybody else had, or maybe that's all he had. I'm not sure. Good solid pickup by Chris going after Nick Foles. That's an excellent pickup. LeGarrette Blount was actually kind of surprisingly dropped last week and picked up on the cheap. I'm going to assume still keeping stuff away from me, if nothing else. There, especially with me playing Will this week. That's a good move. I like the move. Ian Thomas, I can't actually say I know who this is. Oh boy, this is where I'm missing Jarvis here, because Jarvis probably knows who that is. I'm going to assume he must have had some kind of bigger week last week. I know Greg Olson is out for the year. I don't know who their second tight end is. Got a kicker going on, Josh Johnson. He did kind of look okay. Well worth a flyer. I don't believe he's starting this week, though. And then another kicker picked up. So there's the news and notes for the week. So we'll hop right into last week. Last week was pretty doggone exciting. We had the two playoff battles between Kroll and I, and then we had Mike and Stefan. And Mike's just rolling along still, just churning through the points. That's big kudos to him. Outscoring, Stefan kind of, I always saw him kind of as the weakest team in the playoff hunt. And he kind of showed that with the low point total put up. Kroll and I, on the other hand, was a heck of a battle. I do feel for Kroll. If he would have played either one of the other, if he would have played Stefan, yeah, he would have got in. So the high point for the week was 200.3 by myself. The low point, the high point for the non-playoff team was actually Luke. Congratulations there, Luke. 159.72 for Luke. Low points for this week out of the playoff teams, it was Stefan at 148.02. Gary had the low point for the week at 127.41. Jarvis still has the season high point at 249.21. We still have a couple of weeks to go for somebody to catch that and snag that $100 out of his hand. It's going to be tough to beat, though. Season low point, still Luke, week 11, 102.94. I did have a nice little chat with Luke about his losing of the dress bet. He has embraced it wholeheartedly, and he looks forward to it. It's just going to be interesting to see who gets to choose the dress that Luke actually has to buy, and how mean they are about it. So the playoffs are set for next week. So it's going to be Jarvis versus Mike and Will versus myself. And for the fifth place, it will be Stefan and Kroll. Find that real quick. Probably not. I can never find this stuff when I forget to actually look for it right away. The 3-year point total between Will and I. Will is at 8125.43. I am at 8059.11. 66.32. That's a pretty good lead for Will. I thought I was going to pick up more on him, but I didn't. So he's starting to really pull away with that. Now on to the supers and the poopers for this past week. It was actually really tough to with the supers. I just could not leave a couple of these guys out of there, even though they're not on the playoff teams. The first one you got to look at is Amari Cooper, and this was just sick. 10 catches, 238 yards. Oops, I'm sorry. 10 catches, 217 yards, and 3 touchdowns on 13 targets. That's just so impressive since he came over in the Oakland trade. Just one solid game after another there. Last week might not have been the best, but that's still 15.5 points. That follows a 38 and a 49 point performance out of those, the 2 other weeks. That's incredible. And that offense has really showed. The other one is Torrey with Derrick Henry. Oh, this was a pretty sick one as well last Thursday night. 17 rushes, 238 yards, 4 touchdowns. Just dismantled the Jaguars. It was just incredible watching him. And of course, breaking off the 99-yard touchdown run was a thing of beauty to see. One that I'm sure JJ didn't like to see because he did tie Tony Dorsett's record, I do believe. One thing that was surprising was 0 targets. But when you score 47 points, you don't really care. Unfortunately, that was a vast majority of Kroll's point, or of Torrey's points. The other super with the playoff team, you got to give it to Juju Smith-Schuster. Against, it was against the Raiders, but 8 catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns on 12 targets. If you did not see either one of his touchdowns, both of them were solid. The crazy one where he tiptoed his toes, thing of beauty. The other one, I'm not even sure how Ben even threw the ball in there. So it was phenomenal. Pooper definitely goes to Calvin Ridley for Kroll. We were sitting there watching the game, and I don't think Ridley even caught his pass until the 3rd or 4th quarter. 1 for 10 on 4 targets. Unfortunately, Kroll gets a better game out of him, and then he's really pushing for the win. The second pooper I'll hand out is like I said, Kroll falling to that 6th seed and having to play me right off the bat, and that part just really definitely stinks. Where. Yeah, he wouldn't have beat Mike, but he would have definitely beat Stefan. And it just, really, it stinks, for him. He's had the whole season where he's had to be in the top division, playing against Mike and myself and Gary, who Gary's no slouch. So, hasn't been easy on Kroll. Now, unfortunately, he's knocked down to that fifth seed where he'll battle Stefan. Now, previewing the upcoming week, Kroll or Will and I, according to this, it's not going to be much of a battle. It'll be a lot better battle between Mike and Jarvis, and a semi-decent battle with Kroll and Stefan. One thing, I kind of skipped to some of the news in the at the beginning because they were injury news, which affects me. I'm not sure what's going on with Connor. Practiced on a limited basis. I absolutely don't think he's playing this week. McCoy, not sure what his rib status is after he came up with 0.1 points for me last week. It's not easy starting Theo Riddick against the Bills, but he does catch passes. The other one that I was hoping on was Sammy Watkins, and he was listed. They still have questionable, but he is out for this week. So right now I actually have 3 defenders thrown in there. I honestly don't know what I'm going to do, if that's going to happen. For Will, I believe I did see the Pro Football Doc. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him. It's Dr. David Chow on Twitter. The guy is phenomenal. But I believe he was talking that Ware is actually going to be out again this week. So that'll mean Will will have to go with Jalen Richard. Tyreek Hill is going to start, so that's it's a nice boost for Mahomes. That's going to be a fun game to watch and see how that all transpires. A very interesting thing that will happen is I will be done. I will have 1 3-25 game, but after that I will be done. And Will still have, I believe, a guy playing on Monday. There you go, his kicker. So right now the projections aren't even close. Not even close. That's probably my worst projection in a quite a few weeks. I don't think the matchups are that bad, but we'll see. I'm a bit dinged up, with my running back situation. So I'm excited. I still think I have a doggone good team. I don't think I have a 38-point deficit team, but we shall see. Mike and Jarvis. Now this is definitely a matchup that Jarvis has been waiting for. These two, used to be in the same division. Where Jarvis kind of dominated that division last year. Now, Mike is, I would say Mike is the most dangerous team right now. He doesn't really, Tyreek Hill's banged up, but doesn't have any other injuries to speak of. And he's got some pretty good matchups. Saints, Colts, Broncos, Dolphins. None of these are scary defenses. The Cowboys are an interesting defense because what they did last week. So is he going to think a little bit before going with T.Y. Hilton? Is he going to think about Josh Gordon against the Steelers or David Moore against the Niners even? Or Allen Robinson against a torn-up Packers secondary? I don't know. That's where I would definitely consider Allen Robinson there. I didn't throw any starts and sits together, but if I was going to put in a sleeper, I think it would probably be Allen Robinson over T.Y. Hilton. Jarvis, on the other hand, has some, Big Ben has the rib issue. Melvin Gordon, is he really going to play? Is he not going to play? You can't start Tevin Coleman. That guy's unstartable. Justin Jackson against the Chiefs. Well, I believe Eckler is out that game. But he had virtually no success last week. So that's going to be really a hard thing for Jarvis to decide. Will Gordon even carry a full complement of carries if he's in there? I wouldn't think so. Beckham, after the surprise non-start last week, is supposed to play, but the Titans aren't any slouches. Hopkins against the Jets is a drooling matchup there. Jarvis Landry, I'll be loving to hear him cheering against his Broncos with that one. George Kittle, for anybody that did not see that 7 for 210 and a touchdown on 9 targets out of him last week. He was absolutely up there in the contention of the supers for the week. The kid's just been amazing. The Rams, which Rams defense is going to show up this week? Is it one that the Bears defense pretty much so annihilated their offense? They've been scoring good. So against an Eagles with Nick Foles, well, which Nick Foles actually shows up? Oh, he does not have a kicker in there, so I think he was switching out kickers. So that's going to be skewed to Mike, or skewed to. Let's see, he's supposed to 10 points, huh? So he's got around an 8-point lead over Mike. Jarvis does. Kroll and Stefan. Good matchups for Kroll with his quarterbacks. Big points there. Cohen is such the man in Chicago. Calvin Ridley, will he have a bounce back against the Cardinals? Well, Julio's going to see a whole lot of Patrick Peterson. So definitely, it might be the Ridley show instead. So that's pretty good. Just a 2 points separate the two. Stefan, boy, Aaron Rodgers against the Bears. Can he actually look for other options? Doug Baldwin, questionable. Goodwin, maybe, against the Seattle defense. Sterling Shepard, I believe, had at least 1 touchdown last week. Yeah, but he only caught 2 of his 6 targets, so can you really start him against the Titans instead? Probably not. I think he's probably got to roll with Aaron Rodgers and, really just hope for the best and, lean on Barkley and Gurley and, hope they do get, 27 points. That's sick. So the 3 matchups for the playoffs is really, really interesting to see. That's going to be so much fun to see how that all plays out. Seeing how accurate some of this stuff is, 22 points, less than a point. Will those actually hold up, or will they just simply be inaccurate as they usually are? So the other thing that I was going to go over was how the non-playoff teams were sitting after the first. I don't want to go there. There, I want to see how. Okay, so oops, that's not it. Sorry, I'm going over the weekly results. I should have went there in the first place. My bad. So as you can see, the playoff teams are fairly jumbled up there. They're fairly close. Ignore Jarvis, of course, and Will. But when you have, between 127 and 159, you're only talking a little over 32 points that are separating all the teams. And that's easily erased in one good week between those guys. And you're playing for draft position. And that's huge. There is a huge difference between the first draft pick and the third or fourth draft pick. Or even, definitely between first and sixth. So I'm going to be really excited to be watching those guys at the bottom. Yeah, I'm rooting for Luke. I'm rooting for you, buddy. Rooting for you to grab that number 1 overall and get up and announce to everybody in your beautiful dress who your pick is going to be. That's going to be so much fun. So, gonna kind of make this a quick and sweet show. My thoughts and prayers out to Jarvis and his wife and their brand new baby. Look forward to seeing the little girl. They do have some pictures up on Facebook if you have not seen them yet. So I wish good luck to you, Will. I'm so tired of playing you. I really am. After 2 years of battling in the same division, I would have preferred not to have played you this week, but that's just how it all works out. Good luck to Jarvis and Mike, the winner of that. We'll see who gets to play the winner of you two. So thanks for listening to the Week 15 edition of Intentional Streaming, the second round playoff edition. I always enjoy doing these. It's a lot easier doing these with somebody else. So anytime one of you guys want to volunteer, if Jarvis is gone, you let me know, and I'll be more than happy to bring you on. So don't forget that in probably about 5 weeks, Jarvis and I are going to start our new format where we're no longer going to do the Carney Dynasty League analysis. We are going to go strictly to a fantasy football show where we will cover a number of topics, from not only dynasty leagues to redraft leagues to DFS leagues. And, so we can just talk and share our thoughts on fantasy football. So, well, thanks everybody. We appreciate it. And everybody take care and good luck this weekend.